What's up guys, it's your girl Rivah and I'm back again with another video. If you're new to this channel, hi, my name is Rivah, it's very nice to meet you. Before we get into this video, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up, and as I always say, make sure you guys leave your comments in the comment section down below. It does not matter how you feel about this video, we all want to talk about it. Also, if you're not following me on Instagram, follow my Instagram, it's at RIVAH _JORDON, and we're gonna go ahead and jump right into the video.
They have a show which aired last night. They are Mondays at 7:30 Central. They were discussing the baby and what's her name? Like Danny Lay? Yeah, Danny Lay. And Rilla pulled up on him. He got some fire behind that pull up. So whenever you guys get a chance, make sure you check it out. But Rilla, what's up with that energy, man? What happened?
Man, blame it on the lead attorney, man. Blame it on the lead, man. The funny thing is I'm listening. I was getting off work. I was driving home. And, I always pull up and support. Obviously, I'm going to support the home team first, and then I pull up on other podcasts and support it in any way I can. But I'm listening to the discussion around the baby, and I get it. Everybody has their hot take or whatever, and everybody has an opinion, and we all entitled to that. But the thing that kept throwing me off, I kept waiting to hear, the sisters have accountability for Danny Lay or Danny Lee, whatever. I'm not saying whatever her name is, but Danielle Curio. I was waiting for them to have the equal amount of smoke and at least objectivity to call her out on the things that she was doing in that video. And I just didn't hear it. I mean, the best I heard was, well, she just shouldn't have slept with him. But him, my God, he embarrassed her and da-da-da-da-da. And it was like the more information, the more people that was coming up, the more information that was being given. There was no budging on those positions. And y'all know, man, I've been, JR, I've been rocking with you since February, bro. And, this space is new to me, some of these conversations. And so I remember coming up, I used to be real green, real naive. And Cash was like, oh, really? Yeah. Because in my real life things is just a little bit different. But then it's like, now I'm just seeing like, damn, I see what y'all talking about over here. And so the thing that bugged me out, I mean, honestly, man, like the baby, honestly, dude gonna be held accountable for the next 18 years at the very least. The lead was pointing out a couple things, and I don't want to steal his thunder, but he was pointing out a couple things, chiefly that if a black man had acted towards the police the way that young lady was acting, done for, over with. And the ladies couldn't even admit that. It was like being in the Twilight Zone. I could not wrap my mind around it. I could not understand it. I want to make way for the brothers to at least, give your perspective on what you saw happen. But here's my thing with it overall. The baby ultimately is going to be held accountable. He's going to be held accountable by the system. If there's anything involved in the law, he's going to be held accountable by them. He's going to be held accountable by brothers that hold themselves to a higher standard. The part that's disappointing for me is the women who aren't able to put the BS aside and hold those women accountable.
So it's interesting that he's saying that, and he's coming, from this angle. I mean, he's a man, so it shouldn't be that interesting, but the fact that he's directing the attention to the women who were talking about this. Now, let me tell you, and this, whenever you agree with the side of a man, or whenever you defend a man, they always want to label you names. But the reason why I agree with that is just because if you saw the videos on social media, if you saw kind of like what was happening, at the end of the day, we should be teaching first of all, everyone came to her defense. Everyone came to her defense. In the video, you see him, he was calling her names. Obviously, they were in an argument, right? Obviously. But she, hit him, was threatening him, was doing all of these things, was not leaving, was just kind of provoking the situation even more than it already was. And at the end of the day, she was in his home. So it's not like she was in her own home and he just came there and he's like, videoing her and saying these things about her. She's in his home. So if he asks you to leave or he's requiring you to leave his home, you have to do so. And in these situations, there's been so much conversation of how no one is protecting Black women. So that's the big thing that people have been saying, like, oh, nobody protects Black women, nobody protects us, nobody checks for us, nobody cares about our safety, our dangers, our this and our that. So you have women who are automatically going to fly to her side to prove that that's not true, to prove that, like, no, we are sticking together. However, there's more conversations that need to be had, because at the end of the day, we also have to raise our daughters to know and to have self-control that you cannot act any kind of way to a man. And that might sound controversial and crazy, but it's true. You cannot act any kind of way to a man. You have to have somebody in the situation has to have self-control. As a woman, not just because your name is woman, you are allowed to beat upon a man, kick a man, scream, fight, punch, and do all these things. And if he hits me, oh my God, he hit me. Because you cannot control somebody else's self-control or lack thereof. You can only control yourself. You can only remove yourself from a situation. You can only try to de-escalate the situation. A lot of videos we see, a lot of things that we see on social media, a woman will go and literally initiate the whole entire, oh, I wish you would hit me. I wish you would do that. I bet you won't. While she's hitting him, throwing things, kicking him, punching him. Because if she makes a phone call, it's over for him, no matter what the story is. So I do agree with that situation, that a broader conversation needs to be had, because sometimes as a woman, saying nothing at all, and I'm not talking about like to other people, I'm not talking about like going to authorities, I'm not saying that, I'm saying, but in the heat of an argument when you're upset, sometimes those things can literally save your life. Like sometimes that can be the best safety that you have, is having self-control and not escalating the situation even more than it already is, especially when somebody's irate. But in this particular situation, he wasn't even irate. He wasn't. She was. And so I agree with him that, that part of the conversation should be talked about, because it is something that's very, very necessary.
And call out their BS, because it's young girls that are equally paying attention to what's coming out of those ladies' mouths.
Okay. TLA, I know you did a show about it yesterday. You just kind of highlight some of your points. And did you feel what Rilla was just saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Rilla is absolutely right, absolutely on point. When I saw those videos that were coming out, where she's trying to take the phone away from him and hit the phone out of his hand and things like that, and when the cops are in the house and they're asking her to come back, and she's like, "No, where is this MF at?" He called the cops, and the cops show up, and they're letting her just search the house for him, and which can't be protocol, right? Because she is a woman. Women are people. She absolutely could have gone into one of those rooms and came back with some rifle, right? Now, if it was a man, especially a black man, and they're saying, "Hey, come here," and she's like, "No, f you, whatever. I'm going wherever I want to go, y'all." And they're, that would never happen where the cops were just standing there. And so, I see this a lot. As an attorney, I used to do a fair amount of criminal work. And you see how the brothers come into court for their first appearance or for arraignment, and they're all beat up, black eyes, busted lips. Mm-hmm. And then, so to me, having lived through that or representing these brothers, and then turn around and see this, 5'3", 120-pound girl with not a mark on her, and the cops are just standing there like, "Oh, well, what do we do now? She's walking away. What do we do now? She's cussing us out. I don't know what to do," right? But when it's a brother, they know exactly what to do. And so the way the cops treated that situation. Now, to be fair, I heard that later on, after apparently a lot of people like Rilla and me are, saying, "What's up with these cops?" Apparently now she has been arrested. And I think she's charged with simple battery or simple assault or something like that, right? but I don't think they would have done anything at all. I mean, it was clear what the police thought at the time, and it was only because she recorded herself being so obnoxious and just disregarding the police that they decided, after all of this community pressure, to go ahead and arrest her. But I see that all the time, and this kind of bleeds into the whole issue of domestic violence. Women against the men. I had a woman on my show yesterday when I was talking about this, and this lady, black lady, was like 50 years old, and she came up on the panel, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I didn't even know that women hit men until three years ago."
What?
Exactly. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Right? This has been an issue. Like, women hit men all of the time. And, I see this again as an attorney.
And I think this is such a good conversation. I say this like all the time, but the reason why the conversations like these are necessary is because we already, like, no one should be hitting anybody, first of all. Let's just start there. No one should be hitting anyone. That's such a violation on so many different levels. I mean, yes, we know it's against the law, but it's just such a violation to, you have so much lack of self-control that you have to put your hands on another person because your words or your conversation, you can't say enough, or you're so irate. Another thing that needs to be talked about is the fact that, yes, she did just have a baby. And there's a lot of people who were saying, like, oh, she could be having postpartum. And listen, at the end of the day, that could very well be true. That could be extremely true. However, there's people in positions to help. When you resort to physical violence, I mean, it could have gone extremely wrong. What if he didn't record himself and he decided to fight back while she's fighting him? She's hitting him, taking the phone, snatching the phone, doing all this. Ooh, you saw her like, ooh, if I would, you lucky, because if it was, I would just, what if, you know how horrible that situation could have turned out? And people don't like to go to the extremes, but you have to. You have to go to the extremes. So, yes, across the board, it needs to be recognized that, because women have been so sheltered and so I don't even know the word to say it, but they just have this mindset that they believe that they can literally disregard a man, disrespect a man, do anything to a man, because somebody's going to come to their rescue. And over again, it's proven to be true in terms of, stuff like this, situations like this.
Someone who's represented both women and men for the last 20 years. And also, I am a specialized domestic violence mediator. So when there's a divorce case or a domestic case that has domestic abuse, I am the one that they call to help mediate the case. And men suffer through domestic violence situations. I'm sure there's some men suffering every day of the year, somewhere, some man in this country. Right. So it is an absolutely huge issue. And you see, how it was treated when, she's slapping the phone away or trying to knock the phone out of his hand. Be a man and knock the phone out of your girlfriend's hand and see where you're at in the morning, right? You're going to be in the holding tank. You're going to be in the holding cell. So, I know a lot of the people were, when they saw the videos, they were talking about, her being a side chick, and, they were talking about him and that. But it's the domestic violence issues and the way that she was ignoring the cops. Those are the things that I saw immediately. And I didn't see a lot of people
talk about
a lot of the YouTubers. I didn't see a lot of them talking about that when this hit. So even though it was late, I wasn't even going to really do this live stream that I did about this subject. But I did it just really late. I think I was only on for an hour and a half, but I definitely wanted to give my take on it, my angle, coming from the profession that I have.
Right.
And I thought it was crazy.
Delete, I want to ask you something. Do you think that the charges are going to hold? You think anything's going to happen to her?
Well, if it's a simple battery charge, that's a very, very light charge. And honestly, if you try to slap the phone out of somebody's hands a couple of times, it's not like you should go to jail for 30 days, right? What you're probably looking at is a fine, maybe a little probation until you pay the fine off. But it's going to be a no pun intended, it's going to be a slap on the wrist. And it probably should be. But, getting arrested and having to strip down and be searched when you go in there and, spend a few hours in a cell with people who don't smell too good. That's a good lesson. I'm sure that taught her something, hopefully.
Hopefully.
So, the worst is probably over. She'll probably have to pay a fine and that'll be about it. But hopefully this serves to let other women know that, you can't treat men like this, especially because a lot of times, women will say, "Oh, well, I can't hurt him. I'm only 5'2". I'm only 5'3". If I slap him, it's not going to hurt him." Not realizing that, men are humans too. And if you just slap a man, he might have a knee jerk reaction. And now this is escalated, right? You put this man in a situation where just being a human being, you hit him and he just, and now, his freedom is on the line. And so, I think this is a good discussion piece where everybody just needs to keep their hands to themselves. And the government, police, judges, everyone needs to take this issue seriously when the violence is against men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
K.
As they would if it was the opposite way around. I completely agree with that. I definitely agree. There's always different ways that situations can be resolved. And sometimes we have situations either way where people want to walk away and the other person is stopping them or getting in their face. Sometimes you can't have the conversation right away. Sometimes you have to take a second to take a breather and take some space and then come back when you got your mind together. And that's okay too. But we definitely need other ways to resolve issues. You can't let your emotions rule you. You cannot let your emotions rule you. You have to have a lot of self-control, a great level of self-control. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Genuinely want to hear what you guys have to say. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel. Give this video a thumbs up. And if you're not following me on Instagram, follow my Instagram. It's @RIVAH_JORDON. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Love you.